The Cold War. Subscribe, Universal Tutor. The Cold War was a period of political tension and rivalry between the United States and its allies, often referred to as the Western Bloc, and the Soviet Union and its allies, known as the Eastern Bloc, from the end of World War II in 1945 until the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991. While the conflict did not involve direct military engagement between the two superpowers, it had far-reaching global implications and shaped international relations for decades. Here's an overview of the key aspects of the Cold War. Origins. Post-World War II division. As World War II ended, the United States and the Soviet Union emerged as the two most powerful nations, each with differing ideologies and aims. Ideological differences. The United States promoted democratic capitalism, while the Soviet Union advocated for communism. These differing ideologies led to fundamental disagreements over political systems and economic models. Key events and phases. Truman Doctrine and Marshall Plan. The U.S. established the Truman Doctrine in 1947, providing economic and military aid to countries threatened by communism. The Marshall Plan followed, offering substantial financial assistance to help Europe recover from the war's devastation. Berlin Airlift. In response to the Soviet blockade of West Berlin in 1948, the U.S. and its allies carried out a massive airlift to supply the city, preventing its fall to Soviet control. Formation of NATO and Warsaw Pact. In 1949, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, was established by the U.S. and its European allies as a mutual defense alliance against potential Soviet aggression. The Eastern Bloc countered with the creation of the Warsaw Pact. Korean War. The Cold War turned hot in 1950 with the Korean War, as North Korea, supported by the Soviet Union and China, invaded South Korea. The conflict ended in 1953 with an armistice but no formal peace treaty. Cuban Missile Crisis. In 1962, the U.S. and Soviet Union came close to nuclear war over the placement of Soviet missiles in Cuba. Diplomatic efforts led to a resolution, but the event highlighted the dangers of the arms race. Space race. The superpowers engaged in a competition to achieve space exploration milestones, with the Soviet Union launching the first satellite, Sputnik, and sending the first human, Yuri Gagarin, into space. Proxy wars. Instead of direct confrontation, the U.S. and Soviet Union often supported opposing sides in conflicts around the world, such as in Vietnam, Afghanistan, and various African and Latin American nations. Détente and end of the Cold War. Détente. In the 1970s, both sides entered a period of détente, marked by a relaxation of tensions, arms control agreements, such as SALT I and II, and efforts at diplomatic engagement. Soviet economic challenges. The Soviet Union faced economic stagnation and political unrest, which were exacerbated by the arms race and the cost of maintaining the Eastern Bloc. Reforms and collapse. In the 1980s, Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev introduced reforms like glasnost, openness, and perestroika, restructuring. These reforms inadvertently led to greater demands for political freedom and economic change, ultimately contributing to the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991. Consequences. End of bipolar world. The Cold War's conclusion marked the end of a bipolar world order dominated by the U.S. and Soviet Union. Global impact. The Cold War influenced international politics, military strategies, technological advancements, and cultural dynamics. It shaped the decolonization of Africa and Asia, as well as the political landscape of many nations. Nuclear proliferation. The arms race led to significant nuclear arsenals on both sides and heightened fears of nuclear war. The end of the Cold War prompted disarmament efforts, but nuclear proliferation remained a concern. Shifts in geopolitics. With the Soviet Union's collapse, former Eastern Bloc countries transitioned to democratic governments and market economies. This shift changed the geopolitical balance and brought new challenges and opportunities. The Cold War's legacy continues to influence international relations, global security strategies, and discussions on diplomacy, arms control, and the balance of power. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe and share.